Great.
We're attacking our day today.
There you go. Hey, every day.
So, Nick, I know it's only been 3 practices, but what have you seen from Jalen Hurts so far?
You know, yesterday at the in the red zone practice, I saw some really great throws, like big time throws. He had one to Dallas in this corner of the end zone right here, in the right corner of the end zone, and he also had one to Jason Kroom that he made a play off of a scramble. So, I'm just seeing that playmaking ability, and that was great to see in that red zone day the other day. So. Just want to continue to cut out any mistakes that he's making and continue to make those plays that he's making and just see how special he is with the ball in his hands.
Nick, are you and your offensive coaches attacking anything with his fundamentals to work on those areas of his game?
We're always talking about feet and how his drop correlates with it. So everything we do is going to be to get his feet in sync with the play and to get his feet target line set to where he's throwing the football. That's the most important thing we can do for a quarterback's fundamentals. Again, I don't mess with the quarterback up top, right? He's been throwing this way his entire life. I don't mess with too much of that, just about the finish really up at the top. But everything we do fundamentally is going to be with his feet, and also ball security and keeping 2 hands on the pocket when he is about to move. That is something that we have to continue to work on, because he has a tendency as he moves to keep 1 hand on the ball. We just got to get the 2 hands on the football as he moves in the pocket. So fundamentals at every position is critical. His is no different, and we have a great coach in Brian Johnson that is that's one of the main reasons he's here, is because he's great with fundamentals of quarterback play.
How's that process gone with him and getting your feedback on his feet and where they should be? Where is he in that progress?
It's a work in progress. You're just trying to get a little bit better at that each day. But again, it just starts with just doing the right thing with your drop, right? And then it goes just like any fundamental you want to get better at. You got to drill, you got to walk it, you got to drill it, and then you got to carry it over to the team. And it takes time, exactly what we want them to do on each play. And so it's work. The process is going well. It's just, but we're far from where we need to be.
Nick, about the quarterback room, but so far, do you like what you've seen from your offensive line?
Oh man, this offensive line, just ecstatic to be around this offensive line. Just again, you got a lot of guys that have won a lot of football games here, particularly on that right side with Brandon and with Lane and with Jason in the middle. They just won, and Isaac for that matter. So we're waiting for Isaac and Brandon to get back at it after a couple things that they're going through with their bodies. But yes, just very excited for the offensive line that we have. You win football games because you're good on the O-line, D-line. I mean, that's no secret. That's the same no matter if you're playing Pee-wee football, middle school football, high school football, college football, pro football. So just happy with who we have there, and then the depth that Howie and his staff have gotten here with the other players behind them.
What's your level of concern with Jalen Rager failing his conditioning test and not really practicing full yet?
We obviously want all our guys out there every single day. Jalen had to go through some things that I can't even imagine going through that he had to deal with, and so I know that mentally that he has to get himself in a spot. So I'm not concerned. He's been getting himself back ready to go these last couple days. He's got some tightness in his body. That's why we're holding him back. Again, anytime we just believe that in practice so much that's where you improve as a player. So anytime a player misses, of course we're not going to want that, but no concern, because he's on track to be ready, and we'll get some reps today out at practice.
What was your thought process behind stopping practice when you did yesterday, gathering the team? Is that something you typically do? Is that something just on the spur of the moment?
I just wanted practice to finish the way we wanted to finish. There's so many games in the NFL that come down to the last drive, right? And so I just wanted it to finish strong. And I felt like the defense was having a good day, and the offense was having a below average day, and just wanted them to know that, hey, whether you're having a good day or a bad day, when we get into the fourth quarter and it's tight, you always got to play the next play. and the next play, and the next play. And you can't think about what's going to happen in 2 plays from now or next drive, and you sure as heck can't think about what happened the play before. And it was just a good example of how a season goes. There's ups and downs in the season. There's ups and downs in the game. There's ups and downs in practice. It's just about how you finish and play the next play. And I just thought that was a good opportunity to talk about that with the team.
What about the quarterback room in general? You have a veteran in Joe, a guy with Nick who's played some games in San Francisco. What's that relationship like behind the scenes with those 3 players?
Yeah, quarterback rooms, that is one of the best places that are in that building, to be able to sit in a quarterback room. I sit in the quarterback room every day. Every meeting I'm in there. Shane's in there. Brian's in there, and then obviously Nick, Joe, and Jalen. And so we just talk through so many things, right? We talk through just why we're calling a play and what we want it against and what it might not be good against. And so there's just these conversations that go, and then Joe has all this experience, Nick has experience, Jalen has experience, and just, hey, what is your favorite time you've ever hit this? And I think I just see them connecting on, being in that room together, and really, really happy with that. Like I said a couple days ago, really happy with that room. I think a lot of teams in this league would be ecstatic to have the 3 players that we have.
These first few days, has the defense been ahead of the offense? And if so, does that speak more to your defense or your offense at this point?
I think it's typical early in camp that the defense is head of the offense in some situations. We keep score every day. Like, really, who won this play? Did the defense win this play or the offense win this play? The defense win this play or the offense win this play? And so the defense has won the last couple days, and that's a tribute to Coach Gannon and his coaches. But it's early, right? It's early, and you want that consistency to happen both sides. And so, I don't put too much into that, especially at this time, and especially that's kind of typical too down in the red zone. Right, the windows are tighter. I told you guys the other day why we started in the red zone. So it's just a little. I think a lot of the offense players, like, man, that was a rough first day. But you got to realize, again, sometimes the defense is ahead of the offense early in camp, and then also at the start of red zone, they're ahead of the offense too. So it was kind of a double whammy there. But I love the energy the defense is bringing. They're relentless to the football, and that's what we want to do. Like, that relentlessness to the football makes us better getting the football out and protecting the football. And I just see the hustle that Coach Gannon has instilled in them, and then the players just running to the ball like they are. So credit to Coach Gannon, his staff, and the players.
Nick, what's been the most challenging aspect of this first week for you?
It's just again, everything with a new job title. It's just the balance of all the doing what you did to get to this spot, but then also taking on the new responsibilities and being able to delegate things that you can delegate. So it's just now that we're in training camp. So in the off season, it was, how do I transition from the offensive coordinator to the head coach while still doing the things with the offense? And that's what you think about in the off season. And then in training camp, it's the same thing. How do I do it in training camp? So that, I wouldn't say that's been, I guess, the biggest challenge to say, is just to create that, to have balance, create that balance, and trust the guys. I have so much trust in our offensive coaches. That's why they're here, and hire them there. So I, just be able to, when I need to be with a player and not in the offensive meeting, be okay with not being in an offensive meeting and being with that player.
You guys signed Andre Patton, the guy you had with the Chargers as a wide receivers coach, and Shane has worked with him as well. What do you see in him, and how can he help you guys?
Yeah, we needed more legs out there with the wide receivers, and we had familiarity with Andre. I was with Andre as his rookie year, and when I was with him that year, he stayed on our practice squad, and the reason he stayed on our practice squad is because we had high hopes for him that he could develop into a good player, because he had natural ability to bend. He was long, and he had a lot of talent. He was solid catching the football, and he had a lot of talent in that wide receiver room. And it's fun when I did go to Indianapolis, get to see him watch him kind of continue to grow and develop and make plays in the NFL. So, it's hard to get guys that have made plays in the NFL, that aren't on a team at this particular time. And he gave us an opportunity to, one, somebody that knew the offense and knew what we expected out of the receiver position, and two, had some experience.
Yesterday we saw Andre Dillard tap out of a play after he kind of got a helmet in the face, and I think the day before it seemed like he was upset with himself. You could see it physically manifest itself in the way he was carrying himself. What do you make of how he's kind of mentally handled the early part of camp so far?
Yeah, I'm very pleased with how Andres went through, playing through some bumps and bruises that he has, because that's what he's going to have to do during the season, right? It's the way their bodies feel now is probably as good as their bodies are going to feel the entire year, right? Because the season just continues to go, and your bodies, just continue to hurt and hurt. So I've been very pleased with the way Andre's been pushing through some of the things that he's, some of the bumps and bruises that he has, and continue to press on each day.
How about Jordan? How have you felt about the way he's played?
I think Jordan came back in phenomenal shape. He had a target weight that he was trying to come back at, and he came back at that weight. He came back lighter, he came back more fit, and it's showing out there. And so, he's just a big man that can move like a little man, right? So I'm really happy with the way that, and happy for Jordan that he came back in the shape that he did, because that's the key, right? Going against those athletes that he's going against on the other side, on the defensive line, he's going to have to be in the best shape of his life. And I think right now he did come back. I've only known him for a short time, but he said to me, and the strength staff have said, he is in the best shape of his life.
In those close quarters, Nick, and those tight spaces, how do you think Devontae Smith has handled that the first couple of days?
Devontae, I give so much credit to Devontae and his fundamentals. He's worked at his game. He's worked at his craft. Give so much credit to the coaches over there at Alabama that, his wide receiver coach, Coach Saban, his offensive coordinator, like they've worked at his game and improving his fundamentals. And that's how a player gets better is, we got these guys out here that are world-class athletes. And then if you can combine athleticism with fundamentals, the sky's the limit for a lot of these guys. And that's why I see Devontae, just his fundamentals are really polished for a young player. So a lot of credit to Devontae for working at his craft and at his game, and a lot of credit to the people who have coached him in the past.
We're going to do a couple more. Putting the playbook together, and then now you get to see it on the field, like these players running it. How malleable is it? Like, how much tweaking do you do based on what you see on the field versus what you have on paper?
What you're going over now is your staples. Things, your staple plays in those first couple installs are what you really think you're going to run a lot of, right? And so it's not like we just started running these plays. We knew the problems that are proposed to these plays and what we got to do. So it's not so much anything that we're tweaking. It's more so like, how do we get better at the details of this play? Like, I think there's a lot of you could be in a situation and be like, oh, that looks really good, and I'll run this play, and then from this offense, and I'll run this play from this offense, and that play looks good from this offense. No, we know these are some of the core value plays or the core staple plays we want to do. So it's not so much tweaking those. It's just we know how to coach those fine details of that play, because and get those guys really good at those fine details, because at the end of the day, it's how do you execute those. Even when the defense knows what you're going to run, how are you going to execute those plays? And the teams that execute those plays are the ones that know those fine details and play with high fundamentals.
Hey, Rube had a question over here, Coach.
You gave some of the older guys day off, maintenance day yesterday. How do you balance guys needing to work in a new system and a new scheme and getting that with getting the time off?
Yeah, that's a good question, Rube. We're constantly thinking about how to keep the players healthy. Again, great training staff headed by Tom, great strength and conditioning staff headed by Ted and Dr. Arsh being oversight and everything. I mean, we just are always thinking about how we keep these guys healthy. And so one thing that we do is these guys that are older in the league and have had some years under their belt, we took care of the other day. And they're on a schedule that we have it scheduled out right now, exactly what days we know they're gonna miss, and that was their first scheduled day. And it was all about keeping them healthy. I'm not concerned at all about the plays in the new system. They're in that meeting room, they're in the walkthrough, so they're getting those mental reps. But I know their bodies benefited from what we did yesterday and the suggestions from our strength and conditioning staff.
What are your conversations like with Jason Kelsey? How do you lean on him? How is he a resource? And you must have a good Jason Kelsey story already, right?
You bounce the things, the pulse of the team off of him, right? Because he talks, he's close with all the guys on the team that people look up to him. I just think about him, and I think about these very smart individuals, highly intellectual individuals that I've been around in this game, football smart, and he's right up there at the top. And it's just great to be around guys like that. And I would be present out to say Phillip Rivers. He's in that category of Phillip Rivers and Nick Hardwick and Jason Kelsey. These guys that just I've been around that they know exactly what they want to do because they've seen the defense 100 times. I'm imagining that's how Drew Brees was and Tom Brady is, because they've seen these things so many times. And so, yeah, it's just great to be around a guy like that, because he really can lead your protections and your calls on the offensive line. And so just got so much respect for him and all that he's done in the league and what I see him doing every day out here.
Nick, I just want to ask you about the left tackle competition. How's that look these first few days? How are Jordan and Andre handling that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's competing for a job, and I think those two guys are no different. Like you said, I know they're both embracing it, and I see them both playing at a good level right now. They can both be better, but I see them both playing at a good level right now. And again, they know what this program stands for: connecting, competing, right? Accountability, football IQ, and fundamentals. And I just see them attacking that every single day. It's too early to tell with particularly with offensive linemen as far as that, because that position and this whole game is played with those pads on. So when we get those pads on, it's going to start to shake out, and it will play itself out.
Last one, guys. You mentioned that Jalen Reagor's obviously going through a tough personal time right now. How do you make sure you and the team become a support system for him?
Yeah, just being there for him. If we're gonna say the very first core value is connecting, and then aren't there for our players in the time of need, then we're full of it. And so it's just being there for him, and having the people in place in the building to help him deal with anything that he's going through, and so you have professionals that do that, right? That can talk to him if need be, and then you just have coaches that care for him, that are there to talk to him too. So, and I think you see the players, you see that this is a tight-knit group of players as well. So there's a lot of guys for him to be able to talk to, again, professionals, coaches, and his teammates.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks everybody.